I'm very grateful to be here, and good day to everyone throughout the world. The UPF International has been holding the peace talks very successfully on different topics, and Dr. Walsh and I spoke about the urgency of this matter. UPF USA has been partnering with the American Clergy Leadership Conference and our pastors in Minneapolis and New York, Washington, LA, and also representatives of Congress, Democrats and Republicans. And we see hope. We see hope moving forward. But first of all, we want to express our sadness over the tragic death of Mr. George Floyd, which was clearly the abuse of power and terrible tragedy and murder that we see by a police officer of the Minnesota Police Department. We're saddened by the other officers who stood by. We're saddened by the terrible expression of pain and anguish and crying by citizens who were there trying to beg this officer to get off of Mr. Floyd. Now it's been upgraded to the second-degree murder, and the other 3 officers have been charged. But also what we saw was something that didn't happen in the past that I recall, even when there was the terrible trouble after Dr. King was assassinated or the riots in LA. This situation is quite different. Every race, every culture, every religion, every background are pouring out onto the streets, good people that really want to put an end to this kind of discrimination, and especially this tragic problem of people being hurt, and the abuse of power and that kind of thing is just, enough is enough. But the deeper issue is racism. It's not a simple topic. It's not something that we can easily say, well, I don't have that problem. I do find as I work with pastors and work with people from all different backgrounds that I too have to repent. I too have to come clear. I haven't loved my brothers and sisters from all races. We all have these shortcomings. We tend to aggregate with our own people. That's a typical history of mankind, and it all starts from the very beginning when God, asked Adam and Eve to obey His will, and the breakdown that occurred there. Jesus came and gave us grace, but we also see there's still conflict within us, and therefore the religious leaders, we believe, play a very central role. And we know that many of the religious leaders in Minneapolis are working very hard during the day. They're doing a lot of the cleanup every day. And at nighttime, there are some bad actors that come out. And there is evidence, as the Chicago mayor indicated, clearly they're coming from outside. They're coming from outside of the community. The community doesn't want to burn down its own community. Bishop Noel Jones, when he was helping the ACLC develop a statement concerning this, a pastoral statement, he said it doesn't make sense that somebody gets in a fight outside of their house and then to express their anger, they come in and set their couch on fire. Nobody would do that. This is not coming from the community. It's coming from people who have other intentions. But that's always been the case. We believe that we have to come together beyond race. We've got to really, really deal with the problem of racism. It's not going to be something we're going to solve in the next couple of weeks or months. It's a process that we have to really come to terms with what our shortcomings are. And it really begins with me. It begins with me dealing with it. One thing that gives me a lot of hope, and my conclusion is that when we saw Ferguson burn and the tragedy there, that again came from a tragic death. And when we saw also Baltimore burn, and they burnt the CVS store, and the older gentleman in his 70s said, where am I going to get my medicine now? But Dr. Rouse and I, chairman of ACLC, we went to Charleston, South Carolina, 1 year anniversary after Dylan Roof killed the 9 people in the Bible study, including the pastor. We had a tremendous experience there because we heard from the people there as we gathered all the pastors for a memorial that Charleston was different because the black and white churches came together and they marched together And there were people that came from outside ready to riot, ready to burn, to destroy. And the media was right behind them. But fortunately, black and white came together first and got in the lead of this process. So, and that's why Charleston didn't burn. And even one of the victims, Felicia Sanders, who survived that shooting, came out with a feeling that the only way I can overcome this incredible pain is not by hating my brothers and sisters from different races, is I have to forgive this person and understand that it was totally evil, the evil within. So we have hope from that Charleston experience, and we see the clergy like Reverend Smith here and others working across this nation now diligently with Dr. Rouse and Bishop Noel Jones to get ahead of this curve. We won't get ahead of it right in this cycle, but we've got to permanently get ahead of it so God's people come together. They're godly congressmen, Republicans and Democrats, the godly people of education and academia. All of the godly people need to come together. And I believe there's tremendous hope with that. Thank you very much.